Hello, good evening. The SAS sniper jailed for possessing a gun and ammunition has lodged an appeal. Sergeant Danny Nightingale was sentenced to 18 months after the weapon was found in his accommodation in Hereford. The appeal comes after MPs debated his case in Parliament last night. Will Inglis's report contains flash photography.
Sergeant Danny Nightingale was serving in Iraq when he was given a 9mm pistol as a gift. It lay forgotten among kit shipped home for him by the regiment as he mourned the death of two close comrades and then suffered a brain injury. Sergeant Nightingale was sentenced to 18 months in the glass house after admitting possessing the weapon, but he claims he was led to believe that a guilty plea would lead to a lesser sentence. His family have decided to fight, and now his case has ended up here in an appeal.
I lodged Sergeant Nightingale's appeal with the Criminal Appeals Office this afternoon and was informed that the Lord Chief Justice, Lord Judge, has directed that Sergeant Nightingale's appeal should be listed before the full court next Thursday. That's a week tomorrow at 2 p.m. This is fairly unprecedented. The Court of Appeal clearly want to give the case anxious and early consideration, and the family and I are delighted that Sergeant Nightingale will know his fate within the course of the next week or so.
Just totally overwhelmed. Really, really happy.
Do you think things have moved so quickly?
No.
What do you think?
I've come to expect the worst case scenario, really.
And you just want him home as soon as possible?
Oh, yeah. And I know all the servicemen and women out there know how that feels. Just to get your partner home safe, father of your children. Yeah, can't ask for better.
Last night in Parliament, the government came under pressure not to oppose the appeal.
This will operationally affect not just our special forces, but every soldier, sailor, airman and Royal Marine who puts his or her life on the line for the country and understands that the country owes them a debt of honour. I'd ask my honourable and learned friend that should an appeal be put forward, that he doesn't seek to oppose it.
But after refusing to examine the decision to bring the original prosecution, the government insisted it was a matter for the courts.
Possession of this weapon was prohibited by law because of the very nature of the weapon. It was being held insecurely together with a large quantity of live ammunition in an ordinary house, in an ordinary road, and the way to challenge the conviction or indeed the sentence is to follow the correct procedure, which is to appeal.
Now wife Sally hopes he may be home in time for Christmas. Will Inglis, Forces News.
Meanwhile, the Defence Secretary Philip Hammond has spoken publicly for the first time about Sergeant Nightingale's case, acknowledging the huge public interest in his plight. Mr Hammond explained why he'd asked the Attorney-General to review the case, a request which was very swiftly rebuffed by his ministerial colleague.
I wrote to the Attorney-General to ask him to confirm his view on one very specific aspect of the process, and that is to confirm that the public interest test was properly applied by the Service Prosecution Authority before they made the decision to prosecute. I didn't ask him about the conviction, I didn't ask him about the sentence, and I know that it wouldn't be proper for him to respond on either of those things.
Just one final, just the public interest means what? I mean, what were you asking him to look at?
I'm not a lawyer, but as I understand it, the test that any prosecuting authority, whether it's the service prosecution or the criminal prosecution service in a civil case, has to apply is not simply will we win this case, but is it in the public interest for us to pursue this case, given all the facts and given the context. And I just wanted to be reassured that that test had, in the attorney's view, been properly applied.
Philip Hammond talking to the BBC's Jonathan Beale.